check. I think I am not sure what's going on. I want to make sure. Yeah, I'm not actually sure. Like, it says we're live, but are we? Right, I've got the live stream up. I think it's a bit delayed. I'm not actually sure if it is or isn't live. If it is live, can you just let me know down in the chat thing? 'Cause it seems like experiencing some technical difficulties tonight, which is usually not like this. I just want to make sure everything's good. Thank you, Dave, for confirming it. So, let's get on with then qualifying for the Bahrain Grand Prix then. Because, yep, I'm sorry for the delay, as I said. Right, so, yeah, welcome to Tier 2 tonight for the Bahrain Grand Prix. 10 minutes has roughly passed in a top 16 rundown. And it's Danny Van Rooten on pole position at the moment, currently setting the pace with a 1:28.1. Then it's Ono Doyle in second. Then it's Scarinzi third. Fourth is Kotos. Fifth, Vigo. Then Porsche in sixth. Then it's Nice Job in seventh. Storms is eighth. Then Tiny in ninth. Then we have Piers in 10th on a 29.6. Then a little bit further back outside the top 10, we have got Damac, Coaster, Iron Kid, Lewis, Piano Jam, Saint, and with no set time, or, well, we're about to be another driver with a set time, I think here as Oscar comes to the line, and he's going to do a 28.5 to, in fact, join his teammate on the front row, so that's a very nice effort from him. And with obviously no set time now, we've just got Cole Pillow, Valency and Dudaly at the back of the grid. So that is currently your top 20. Obviously, still plenty time to go in the qualifying where drivers can obviously set a second or third lap still. So this qualifying far from over. However, have to admit, Danny Van Rooten is already in a very strong position with that 28.1, and, well, considering Oscar only did a 28.5, I imagine that time from the first Mercedes was set much earlier on, potentially, and therefore I do expect, well, him to have, well, more pace maybe to find in his final run too, depending on everything. But Iron Kid coming around the final corner now doesn't look like he's on a hot lap. Tiny starting then his lap here, then around this Bahrain International Circuit. Second time been racing here this week. Obviously, if you haven't checked out, obviously do go check out the Iron Tier. Mufasa took me by surprise, he did, with his almost pole lap. Weren't quite pole, but it was a very good lap by Mufasa. 29.4, if I'm correct in saying. So currently that would be probably good enough for P9 at the moment here, in truth. But what can then, I suppose, his Williams other teammate do from the tier 2, or from the scooper tier, or whatever, I think it's scooper tier. Yeah, these guys are something else, I totally agree. Danny Van Rooten is already about a second clear, over a second clear of what the time you guys set in that other day, or Monday. That was yeah, I think best time on Monday I think was a 29, I think it was a 29.0 or a 29.1, so I don't think we got into the 28s, if I rightly remember. We got close, but just missed out on the 28s. But yeah, these guys already into the 28s with their times. 28.9. Ah, fair enough. Thank you for reminding me, Dave. Appreciate that. But yeah, so right now it'd still be competitive actually. Be top 5 in this division actually, with that 28.9. To be honest, so it would be competitive, but yeah, top 3 certainly are in another league at the moment. Anyway, I'm going to stop flicking through all the drivers. We'll just stay with someone. See what Tiny's doing. Tiny's actually improving on his lap by a 10th now. Get up some, not that, get up that, there we go. He is low on the fuel though, as you can see, so got fuel, therefore does indicate that car is running light. Probably got enough fuel to do this lap, I assume, but certainly on his in lap, he's going to struggle to make it back round the track to do a proper in lap and out lap again if he is running light, because I imagine he'll be limited to like certain speed restriction due to low fuel mode. Anyway, around the final corner for himself, runs wide off the track, doesn't invalidate, so Will lost time, but of course didn't in the end stop him going ahead of him Porsche, and that's a 29.1 for himself to move up to 9th momentarily. I think Dude Lay or someone went across the line. It was a nice job, and nice job up into P2 with a 28.4, so that's certainly a decent effort by him. But those laps that we're seeing probably now are the final runs for them, unless they can make it back round to the pits on time. There is about 5 minutes to go, so it is doable to get back to the pits and do another outlap, of course. Seeing what Iron Kid currently is doing. Right now, I don't think this is a competitive lap, so we'll go back to someone else. Valtsy, he's 2 tenths up, so 2 tenths down on his own time currently, and that current time is a 1:32.0, so a bit off the pace here. Going around the final corner, this isn't going to be any sort of improvement, so I literally think right now we're either waiting for drivers to come out again, or we are waiting for, obviously, drivers to come back into the pits, and we're in that sort of phase of qualifying where it's a bit obviously odd timing. It's not the best timing overall. I think Damac is actually on an outlap, so he'll be the next driver, I think, to do one. Or is it Piano Jam? No, it's Piano Jam, so we'll see what Piano Jam can do. So here comes Piano Jam in the Alfa Romeo. I will say the new Alfa Romeo livery does look absolutely fantastic. Probably prefer it overall, the black and the green, just my opinion. Obviously, probably going to get criticised for that now, compared to this Alfa Romeo livery. But the Alfa Romeo livery don't look too bad either, in all fairness. But nonetheless, let's see what first sector time is saying, and it's now saying it's outlap. So I have no idea. Is this actually a lap or outlap? Goodness knows. So we're just going to have to see what hopefully middle sector says. Yeah. Looks like so far it's been a clean lap. Doesn't look like he's invalidated, so that's all I can tell you. Looks nicely through turn 11, no issues there. Up through 12 and 13. Anything for the middle sector in terms of any information? Iron Kid's retired, can tell you that. Anyway, Piano Jam's going to come across the line and does improve his time and moves up into P16. Did look clean, fair enough to him. Demac's currently down by 2.1 seconds, so that isn't going to be an improvement from himself. Kosa is actually also on a lap. He's currently down a tenth and a bit in the first sector. So what can he do in the middle sector? Currently only a few thousandths between himself and Demac. Very wide out of turn 11, and that's certainly going to lose the McLaren driver Kosa some time, and is now 6 tenths down. So this lap is pretty much a write-off for himself, being that far down in terms of the time, unless he can find magically 6.5 tenths through this final sector, which is fairly unlikely thing to come and do, and no surprises there. He's peeled off back into the pit lane. Right, now Demac, have a watch what he can do. He's actually found about 92 thousandths, so that's a decent find of time. The only trouble is he's got a big gap to make up. Would need to find over about 5 tenths if he wants to jump Storms, Piers, and obviously Tiny, and obviously Vin Porsche. This is, I suppose, where he's aiming for. Anyway, through around Bahrain here in qualifying, and he's going to come across the line now. Does find half a second, and that then sees him just jump up ahead of Storms and Kosa. Obviously, Storms is on an outlap though, so we'll have to see whether or not he can regain that P12. Right, let's see what Danny can do. And Danny's found 12 thousandths through the first sector, so he's already on a 28.1. Can he go even quicker in this lap and find even more time? Maybe even get into the 27s, if it's even possible. Taking a very wide line through turn 11 on an entry to turn 11, using all the track, all the road, using all the curb and a bit more there in turn 12 too, and is finding about a tenth now. So he's up by about a tenth and a half. So if he can find about another 40 thousandths then here, he would probably just creep into the 27s and round the final corner again, using all the road and track width there, all the curb possible. And there we go, 27 it is, 27.9, and that is the time then they all got to go chase and beat. Nice job is actually finding a lot of time here as well. But what also about then Oscar? We'll follow Oscar quickly first, because Oscar's currently P3. He's a tenth down. So here then comes Nice Job, and he's now 3 tenths down. So Nice Job, you'd have to say, is out of it. I think that was Kotos who jumped up the order. Dudele isn't on a quicker lap. He's invalidated. Here comes then Vigo to the line. Vigo crosses the line, moves up into P6, into the 28.8. And other than that, I think that is going to be your grid, because everyone else is either crossed the line or is coming into pits. And it is then Danny Van Rooten on pole position from Nice Job. Then Oscar in third. Then rounding out the top 3. Then it's Onyodo in 4th and Scorinzi in 5th for Red Bull. So, that is obviously qualifying over. Do apologise, obviously, for the first 9 minutes that we accidentally missed due to the technical difficulties, but nonetheless. So, Danny Van Rooten is your pole sitter, as I said. Then it's Nice Job P2 on the front row of the grid. Oscar is third. Then 4th is Ono Doyle. Then it's 5th for Scorinzi. Vigo is in 6th. Then it's Kotos in 7th. Tiny in 8th. Then it's TNR Dudele in 9th. Then Vimporsche 10th. And outside then the top 10 we have Piers, then it's Damac, then it's Storms, then it's Just Cold Pillow, Lewis in 15th, Kosa 16th, Iron Kid 17th, Piano Jam in 18th, St. Powers in 19th, and Bouncy for Alfa Romeo rounds up the back of the grid. So that is your starting grid for today's Grand Prix, or for today's race, then here at the Bahrain International Circuit for race 2 around Bahrain this week in Tier 2. Which I take it is the faster tier of the two tiers, but yeah, obviously I'm not dissing the other tier, because the other tier is great too, great racing, as well from them, clean racing, which is important to see, and hopefully we will have a clean race tonight. And an excellent race, very entertaining and a close race. However, I would say Danny Van Rooten does look like he's got the edge, just like obviously Dan had the edge the other night then, so he could be the favourite going into this Bahrain Grand Prix. But there's one thing saying the whole time, and then there's another thing converting that into, of course, you know, actual race pace, I suppose, because some people have terrible qualifying pace, but then amazing race pace, and some people have amazing qualifying pace and terrible race pace. So it can sort of even itself out, I suppose. It just depends what you're better at, whether you're better at doing one lap or whether you're better doing, 57 laps, or well, not 57, 27, or wherever it is. Anyway, the lights are on. And we are then racing in Bahrain. Almost got that a little bit too quick. I was a bit too eager to get going. And Danny Van Rooten covers off then the inside line, doing a bit of a Max Verstappen there, down into the first corner, making sure Nice Job has to go the long way around if he does want to go through. And in the end, Nice Job has to back out. A little bit of a contact at the back of the grid between, I believe that's McLaren, and also Aston Martin, and either one of the Alpines involved, or Dudelay I think it is then. But so far looks like everyone has managed to keep it clean through the first few corners. A little bit of a battle between Lewis and Storms through then the twisty part of the lap of turns 5 and 6 and 7. Them two having a bit of a fight. Then also we've got Scorinzi under a bit of pressure here, who's lost a position to Vigo and looked like he was under a bit of pressure by Tiny for also P6 as well. So, of course, Scorinzi, having watched him race a few times actually, I know he's a quality driver, can certainly be up there with Nice Job in this race. But so far, lap 1 of the race, and already Danny Van Rooten looking to break the toe, weaving off line to that inside, trying to just get that toe broken and therefore pull out that 1 second gap. Because if he does pull out that 1 second gap, especially on this lap and on this occasion, he would obviously not have that extra threat, eliminates the DRS opportunity for Nice Job, and therefore just allows Danny Van Rooten to drive in clean air. But right now the gap is only half a second, so therefore Nice Job doing plenty enough to hold on to then the lead, not just the lead, not be in that DRS. So Kotos gets a move done there on Vigo, and Vigo now down to 8th. But Danny Van Rooten's off the track, and he is actually spun around, not actually sure what's going on. He's just sat there, and it says migrating host. So I presume we're probably restarting this race, which we are. So before it got going, we have decided to restart, which, fair enough. Cool. So, yeah. So I do presume that this is not the race result, and I presume that unless I've just been kicked out, I don't know, to be honest. But yeah, I presume that this isn't the race result. I presume, considering everyone just left, that there is something. Even though I don't see anything in the chat, so I have no idea. I'm really confused, to be honest. Give me 2 minutes. Okay, I'm just gonna try and use the invite to rejoin that lobby. Because I think it might be, I don't really know. I'm just well confused what's going on tonight. If it lets me rejoin, then brilliant. Something is happening. Alright, we're back in. So, yeah. So, right. We're back in. Just about. Somehow got kicked myself. Thought everyone else left, but just looks like we lagged out or something. I don't know. Anyway, hopefully that will be the last of that issue. Anyway, nice job is now your race leader. Danny Van Rooten is P2, so he did not have a spin, even though it did look like he had an incident, but yeah, clearly not. Oscar then is third, followed by Ono Dole. Then DRS is now enabled, given it's lap 4, ultimately. So obviously, with nice job being passed, therefore he will not have the DRS. Everyone else behind him will. And that'll be literally, well, that, I suppose. Anyway, let's have a watch at some of these other battles. A bit of a battle going on for 5th, but right now just a bit of a DRS train. Tiny getting a little bit of a wobble on the exit out turn number 5. And that obviously, well, still keeps him within the range, but another moment there down into turn 7 goes a bit deep, and this will certainly now see him drop back a little bit from the slipstream, so therefore slipstream will be a little bit weaker on the Williams going down this straight into turn number 11. And well, whilst both of them got a bit of DRS, but right now the Aston Martin should have a bit more of that slipstream effect being felt. And in the end, as we get to turn 11, it is Vigo still behind, but right now Kotos has pulled out now an even further bigger gap. So again, the Williams of Tiny is gonna certainly feel a little bit less effect from that slipstream, and now it's beyond a second. It's going to be even worse. No DRS by the looks of it for Tiny either. So there goes Vigo, getting the move done, down into turn 1, easily getting it done before the end of the braking zone. And that is Vigo up into P7. Now, next up the road for him will be the Ferrari of Kotos. And right now, still is your race leader of a nice job. No real changes inside the top 5. Even though, just having said that, I think Skrunzi's got past Ono Doyle, and he has. And Skrunzi is now up into 4th. Ono Doyle down into 5th. Ono Doyle, I think, did make probably a racing error there. The two Hasses battling away. Cold Pillow and Damac at the moment having a bit of a fight. Right now, does Damac have a bit of damage? Looking at one of them camera angles, looked like he did. Yes, he does. He does have damage. So that explains why his performance might be a little bit compromised here. Meanwhile, his teammate certainly doesn't look like he's got any damage. Right now, maybe it would be a wise idea for these two to just swap around and let Cold Pillow go racing the other cars up ahead of him. Of course, points is scored for all positions, but of course, the higher you finish, the higher your points are. As now we see Piano Jam having a good exit out turn, then 13, as they head towards 14 and 15. But as we get to 14, is Cold Pillow with the better than exit. Tries pulling off a bit of that slipstream off his teammate, as then it's now just a drag race between the Alfa Romeo and the Haas and Alfa Romeo. Then down into turn 1, and Cold Pillow has managed to hold then off the attack for now of Piano Jam, as Dude Lay then moves up the order due to that stop. We'll go back towards the top end of the grid. Right now, Vigo is catching Kotos quite nicely, actually. He's now brought that gap down to about half a second. And there is a bit of a gap between then himself, Kotos, and then the top 5. Right now, it's at 2.7 seconds that gap is. Skrunzi right now in 4th. Oscar right now still 5th. And then it is right now your two race leaders pulling a little bit of a gap now out to the back of then Oscar right now, who's in 3rd. It's currently 7/10 behind, but as we get to the braking zone, he kind of pulls that gap a little bit in, and therefore probably that'll be a bit helpful down the straight defending against Skrunzi, because these two are probably the closest two cars inside the top 5. Could we see a move from the Red Bull? Red Bull certainly getting closer to the back of the Mercedes man, but in the end, Skrunzi backs out. Now I'm just going to get up some, leader things, and there we go. So, O'Donnell's picked up a 3-second penalty. That's a bit of a shame for him, but there we go, switch for the lead. And there we go, Danny Van Rooten is into the lead of this Grand Prix once again. He obviously lost the lead at some stage. I can't really confirm when that necessarily was, whether it was lap 3 or lap 4. But he did lose the lead of the Grand Prix, and he is now once again back into the lead after a few laps behind the rear wing of Nice Job. And now it's Nice Job's turn to obviously spend time behind then Danny. Skrunzi is getting past the other Mercedes though, so whilst one Mercedes goes forward, the other Mercedes goes backwards, and then the Red Bull of then Skrunzi is up into P4, P3. Could be one or the other. I'm glad that there's less lag as well. Thank you for confirming that. Oh, that's not a good moment from Oscar. That's a terrible moment, in fact, from Oscar, getting all slidey and out of shape there on the exit, and that puts O'Donnell certainly in striking reach. Has a little bit of a send up the inside into turn 1. The moment for the lead. Also a bit of a battle between them. These two, Tiny and Lewis, side by side out of turn then 2. A little bit of contact on the exit of turn 2 into 3. up the hill then towards 4. The Red Bull also trying to get in on the action as well. The Red Bull looking to try and get it maybe through on the inside. Right now can't probably go for that one. Bit too ambitious. These two continuing to fight through turns 5 and 6. But as we get down the hill into 7, it is then Tiny still ahead of Lewis G. And Storms then is at the moment behind then, obviously, the pair still in 10th. And Piers, well, I'm sure he would have had his popcorn and would have been somewhere sat on the couch watching that battle emerge in front of his eyes, and wisely probably staying out of it for now, I suppose. But still, there is more opportunity to attack. But now it's Lewis G feeling the pressure from Storms a little bit here for the battle for 8th and 9th and 10th. There's Danny Van Rooten then, and nice job make a switch for the lead, but we'll go back to probably the more entertaining battle at this point in the race, which right now has to be said is probably this battle here for P8. As then, here we go, Lewis G going for the move again on the inside. Still pretty much a rinse and repeat situation. So through turn 3, up the hill into 4. Tiny is then ahead at the moment, heading into 4. It's still Tiny ahead. Storms still there on the inside. As we get to the exit of turn 4, Tiny remains ahead. So pretty much identical carbon copy almost of the lap before, compared to what we had. Skrunzi and Danny having a bit of a entangled battle there. Moment thought Skrunzi might have made up a position on Danny. So whilst Danny did set the overall qualifying pace, his race pace hasn't been that particularly strong necessarily. He's obviously on hard, I have to bear that in mind, but so far it's not as if Danny's pulled away at the moment or, you know, has dropped anyone. He's pretty much, all this group has managed to keep up with Danny so far, unlike what Dan did yesterday. Pretty much pulled out a 1 second lead in the first lap, and even after the safety car as well, and just pretty much pulled away and left everyone in his dust and wake, and that was that. So seeing that move in, and once again that battle re-emerge between Lewis and Tiny. Lewis this time on the inside, a lot further ahead as they get to the exit of turn 1 and 2. Lewis will though not have a DRS going up the hill into 4. Lewis being squeezed a little bit to the inside. Not Lewis, Tiny's been squeezed to the inside. Tiny on the inside still. Lewis now has the outside line. Lewis with the outside line, is either one going to come out on top? The answer is to that question yes. But as we go downhill, looks like Lewis loses a little bit of time. But Storm's going for it now on the inside, and now the Williams running in 10th and 11th. Can Storms convert this around the outside into turn 10? No, Storms has to sit behind for now, and Storms is still in 10th, so Tiny's the only one there just to lost the 1 position. I'm sure he won't be too disappointed in losing that 1 position, considering it ain't 2. However, could soon be 2, but we'll have to see how he still copes on those softs, because they are now about, well, going to be about 11 laps old, going on for the 12th lap now of this race. Also be interesting to see when the 2 Williams pit. Obviously we are reaching about the halfway point of this race, so we are probably getting to that phase where if either one of them 2 Williams wanted to come in, probably could come in now quite happily as we head on to lap 12. I wouldn't be shocked to see either one of them in at the end of this lap. So here we go, Tiny on the inside. Lewis left that door open a little bit, but what can be done on the exit? Who's going to get the better run up the hill into turn 4? Looks like then Tiny has got the better run. Tiny now trying it on the outside. Lewis G defends that car on the inside, making sure his car nice and wide. As we get to the exit of turn 5, then Lewis G remains ahead of Tiny, who's ahead of Storms, then down the hill, then into turn number 11. Right now, the gap between Vigo and Kotos remaining pretty also steady and firm there, I suppose, in 6th and then, 6th and 7th. Right now, there's like 2 gaps really. We've got the leading pack, which is the top 5. Then we got sort of like a midfield pack in the top 10, which is Vigo and Kotos. Then we got the other pack, sort of like little packs of the cyclists at the moment going on here. But this lap, I have to say, Danny Van Rolten has built up a good lead, 9/10, almost a second, and we now see Nice Job head into the pits, and same with Oscar. He's also copying what Nice Job is doing, and they both go for hards. So, when they come out, of course, they will come out, well, one of them might come out in a bit of traffic, but they will come out doing the undercut effectively. So what that means, that they are trying to use the fresher tyres to go faster or set better laps and therefore undercut their rivals. But the other drivers will have the benefit of fresher tyres towards the end of the race. However, it depends what lap they do stop as well, because obviously the medium will degrade quicker as well, and same with the softs. So it'll be interesting to see what lap does Scarinzi and Danny Van Rooten stop, because if both of them stop, let's say lap 17, maybe they might go for a set of softs to the end instead of the medium compound. But if they stop, let's say within the next 1 or 2 laps, then they'll definitely be sticking on a set of the mediums. Onodil has actually spun. He's lost a number of seconds, so that's going to really hurt his race, considering he's on hards. So that probably sees the win slip away from his grasp. But he can still get up into a decent position, certainly probably get ahead of both Vigo and Kotos, as Vigo and Kotos again using that DRS. And let's see what's going on a bit further back. We have seen Tiny come in. He's put on actually mediums to the end. I'm a bit shocked by that strategy, but let's see if Piers is going to follow the same strategy direction as his teammate. He's going for hards, so he's going to the opposite direction. So now both Williams splitting the strategy down there. As you can see, then Tiny coming through, and Tiny, as you can see there, has rejoined quite nicely ahead of Storms, who he was battling with. But these two do have fresher tyres in terms of the better tyre for longevity when it comes down to it, compared to what Tiny's got on. But Tiny did do a good stint on those softs, so it's not impossible to do probably the laps Tiny wants to do to the end. However, it's just what time will he have left at the end, I suppose. We'll have to wait and see and find out. But right now, the battle out front is probably the battle we want to see. Do either of these two come in? One of them does. Danny Van Rooten does. Or does he not? Oh no, he doesn't not. I thought he did come in there. I thought he was committed to the pits. But no, just trying to break the toe. To be honest, if I was a driver, I'd be a bit annoyed behind with that a little bit. Only because I think really you should stick, you shouldn't cross the white line, if that makes sense, unless you're coming in. That's just my opinion. But then I'm just like, how can you put it a bit, you know, FIA-like on that, you know. But yeah, past Scroozy, I'd be well confused. What is he doing? Obviously, we know what he's doing, just trying to break the toe there, I suppose. It would confuse me still. So Scarinzi then has gained actually nice time. Obviously, we'll have to see if any of them come in this lap, maybe. But Nice Job is gaining. He's now got that gap down to about 19.9 seconds. So wind these two do make their pit stops, I do expect they'll come out behind, of course, where Nice Job and Oscar are. But what lap do they go? If they go beyond this lap, if they go, let's say, another lap after this or another lap after that, I do expect they're going for the soft tyre. Let's have a look. Right, now Danny Van Rooten comes in. Skrunzi actually stays out. So Skrunzi is going to stay out here. So I suspect Skrunzi might be trying to go to the softs. But Danny Van Rooten is going to go for mediums. So that's what Danny Van Rooten's committed to. So, right, let's have a look where Nice Job comes out and Oscar in respect to the Danny Van Rooten. So, Danny Van Rooten comes out quite a fair amount behind. Is about a few seconds behind his teammate. And is about 4 or 5 seconds behind then Oscar, behind Nice Job. In the battle for then first, that is. Of course, still yet to make their stops is Skrunzi, your race leader now, and Kotos. But I suspect them two might be trying to go to the softs here. We see Costa and Vigo having a bit of a fight. Right now, Vigo does have the fresher tyre, and therefore this shouldn't be too hard to get past. It's just about where does Vigo want to make the move rather than if Vigo can make the move. But right now, Costa is actually doing a nice job of holding up the Aston Martin driver, and that's certainly putting him into the clutches of Tiny, who's gaining a bit on this pair. But in the end, Vigo gets the move done, and Vigo up into 7th, and will now go chase after Onodul, who's a few further seconds up the road. Right, so Skrunzi's in. He's actually gone mediums. I'm a bit shocked by that, if I'm being truthful. I would have thought he would have tried to go softs. We do know softs can probably last. Fuel loads are going to be lighter, so you can probably do more laps on softs. I would have gone softs from there, personally. Probably that's why I would have lost as well, but nonetheless, we can speak about that at another time. But no, I would have gone softs, personally. I would have taken the gamble. Still very cool. Kotos rejoins behind Vigo, but does have then a lap fresher tyres, but also has a penalty to his name. Vigo doesn't. Tiny also doesn't as well. And Tiny's actually, through making that undercut, has kind of got himself into the battle with these two. So that's actually worked really, really nice out for Tiny as we head into the final, well, 13 laps of this Grand Prix. So I have to see what happens then in the final 13 laps. Right now, I'll give you a rundown of how things are just shaping up. So it's really McLaren, Mercedes, then 2.8 seconds between the top three. That gap is slightly coming down this lap, now down to 2.6. Danny Van Rooten, you would have to say, is the favourite still, even though has had a few setbacks in this race so far. Then it's Skrunzi in 4th. Skrunzi will have to see what he can do from there. Then it's Onero Doyle in 5th, Vigo in 6th, and Kotos is in 7th. Tiny is 8th. He's obviously made a nice undercut work for himself to get up to there and pull out a gap on these two right now, or 3 I should say, because obviously these 4 were battling as a group at one stage. Then it's Demac in 12th ahead of his teammate of Cold Pillow, but Demac probably is going to be caught and passed by his teammate again. Obviously Demac did have a bit of damage to his car, and I'm not really entirely convinced Demac can do the necessary laps to get those tyres home. If he can, that's a very impressive stint, but it'll be a very, very long stint as well. Maybe going for a fastest lap point would be best for Demac there towards the end of this race. Iron Kid in then 14th, having a nice battle of his own right now, trying to keep up with Cole Pillow. And then it's Piano Jam and Kosa in 15th and 16th. Then Porsche, not his day today, down in 17th. Same with Saint Power, down in 18th. And Voutsy down in 19th. And Dudelay is the only retirement so far out of this race. But Danny Van Rooten is now past his teammate and is now set the fastest lap of the 1:31.4 in this race, and that is very, well, mega stuff from himself. In fact, I believe that's quicker than Max Verstappen's lap in real life racing. I think he did a 32.0, if I'm correct in saying, in the race, which is still pretty insane, actually. Not sure what the lap record is around Bahrain. I think it's a 31 something, so that's certainly a few tenths away from the actual lap record around Bahrain. Probably someone's broken it in a league race at some stage, or in an esports race or something. That wouldn't shock me, but I'm pretty sure the lap record around Bahrain's a 31 something or a 30.0. I'm not actually sure. In fact, I'm going to have a look up lap record Bahrain. Because obviously you got, well, always two lap records. So it was actually, according to this, Pedro de la Rosa from Spain, 31.447. And what did Danny Van Rooten do? Obviously they are getting quite close, so I will focus back on that. Okay, so Danny Van Rooten did go faster than the actual official lap record. There we go. And is about probably to go faster than what Nice Job would like, because he's about to pass him. And Scorinzi's actually now broken the lap record himself too. So there we go, 2 lap records broken in one stream. How lovely is that to see? So Danny Van Rooten is now your new race leader. Scorinzi is being almighty fine and quick too. You need to have new softs to make it work from lap 17. Yeah, you could do it lap 17, I suppose. Lap 17, so I'll just say lap 17, 16, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's just me. But then, as well, whilst you would put on new softs, you would also degrade them very, very quickly. Especially at this pace, probably. So it's probably wise they didn't go softs. And in fact, this could be like one of them moments where it's only a virtual safety car, but does this escalate to a full safety car? And if it does, well, that could be the reason why you don't go softs, because now I think this is going to cause everyone to go softs because it is a full safety car. And there you go. So I think this could see full softs to the end of the race. Certainly the top 5 have, or top 4 have the gap to probably come and do a pit stop here, if they choose to do so. So, yeah. How do they listen to me? Like, if they've saved a set of softs from qualifying, then this is the time to put them on. Even if you haven't saved a set, maybe you'll still have a fresher set, and still a good time to put on new softs. Does anyone risk it and stay out? The answer to that is no. So, right, new softs are on for most people. And, of course, with new softs on, that means these drivers will be going probably to the end of the Grand Prix on this set of tyres. And, yeah, it'll be pretty much a sprint of a sprint. Ah yes, it is still saying virtual safety car deployed. I don't know. To be fair, it's said a lot of things tonight. It now says safety car deployed. Just wait until it says red flag. That's what it's gonna say next. Or maybe it'll say something about EA. do have to love EA, indeed. So, now we get to admire the Aston Martin safety car, of course. And we can have a look at all the features that the Aston Martin safety car has got. Leading a lap by Bernd Mailander. He's probably actually led more laps than most F1 drivers in reality. When you think of it. Oscar does have a penalty, to be fair. So, I'm not saying that takes him out of contention here, but, of course, with a penalty, doesn't help his argument if he is going to try and fight for this race win or even a podium, which of course is probably doable, but you know, most drivers probably wouldn't go about consolidating a position. But I don't know, he does have appears as a bit of a, well, I don't want to say moving chicane, that Piers is going to be, but Piers is going to be a moving chicane in all of this, given he's got 8-lap-old tyres, unless he can become, I don't know, the Flash, if you've ever seen the Flash. Very quick runner, superhero. That's the only way I can describe the Flash. DC guy, I think he's DC. You know, but yeah, unless Piers can become the Flash and basically become as quick as him and make those hards work, then he is going to be literally a mobile moving chicane in all of this, I reckon. Which for the top 4 actually isn't a bad thing, to have him behind you, because he's not there for a worry. But if you're someone like Vigo or Kotos, if he gets in the way, he certainly has the ability to slow you down and affect the race here a little bit. Still got a few cars yet to rejoin the back of the group, so have to wait and see how long this safety car stays out. I reckon it will stay out for one more lap at least here. Don't think it will come in this lap, so probably be the next lap where it decides to give the safety car in this lap message. And when it does, of course, Danny Van Rooten has, well, about 6-7 laps to defend off from Nice Job in this race. However, they are all pretty much, or should be all pretty much, from the same tyre life, are on the same tyre compounds. So where does the advantage obviously come from? Has to obviously come from obviously who has the better setup and who drives the car better, effectively. That's what I wanted to say. So that's where it will all come down to. Just basically who's the better man on the day, effectively this is now. Pretty much strategy is not really a thing anymore, given it all, because our top 4's on the same strategy. In fact, I think most of the grid is on the same strategy, besides ERL Piers, hence, as I said, he'll be almost like a moving chicane, so pretty much, I don't expect him to challenge the top lads. However, it'll be interesting to see where he can finish in this, how high up he can finish, of course, for Piers. If he can get still a top 10 result out of it, I think that'd be a very almighty effort to get 10th, even though I think that could even be too high. I don't know, maybe 12th? 11th or 12th, that would be more realistic for ERL Piers here in this one. Piers is a sitting duck on restart, yeah, I agree. But if he can get 12th, I think that would be a very good result in the end for himself. If he can maybe try to delay the cars that are a little bit quicker than him, for instance, like Lewis, Tiny, well, maybe not Tiny, because he's your teammate, but Lewis, Storms, Cole Pillow, and then maybe try and fight with Iron Kid. I think 12th could be pretty fair outcome. So let's have a see. Well, let's see what happens. Of course, safety car restarts do breed safety cars, and we are now back racing once again in Bahrain, as then Danny Van Rooten doesn't waste any time and gets the field going then here once again. DRS pretty much is enabled straight away, and Vigo is already making up a position then here on the restart. Then also, what about Kotos? Is he going to make up a position or two as well? He's certainly going for it, and he's gone for it, and he's gone past. So Kotos and Vigo also going side by side up the hill into turn 4. We've seen this once between these two, and Vigo with the outside line going to get squeezed out on the exit, and Kotos gets a position then into 4, and that is then Kotos for Ferrari up into 5th, Vigo down into 6th. Tiny, as I said, well, even before the safety car, he was doing actually a very nice job in this race so far, I would have to say. He was doing an excellent job actually before the safety car came out, and he has actually picked up a penalty. Yeah, you know, could be worse. Iron Kid has also had a bit of an incident with Cole Pillow. Cole Pillow off the track and doing a few pirouettes for the camera, as he then gets back on and he's left the session. I think he's retired, I'm going to say. I don't know. Hopefully we've just not lagged out again, but looks like everyone else is still here. So I'm going to assume not. So Demac trying to get a move done on Bouncy. Then for what would be P16. Right now Bouncy's gaining on St. Power a bit more. But as we get into the braking zone, Bouncy's gone deep. That's going to open up the door for Demac, and Demac on the outside through turn 3 gets the job done. As he is right now 12th, still holding on to that position quite nicely. Did say that's where he could end up. Right now he's currently there. How about the battle out front right now? That's probably the battle we all want to watch and see. Then Oscar, obviously, with a 3-second penalty, locks up, I think, Oscar that was, I'm going to say, as they went deep into the chicane, or not chicane, into the turn 10 hairpin, which obviously very easy to load or unload the front left and therefore cause a lockup due to the odd nature of that corner. Anyway, through 13, another tricky corner to negotiate. Pretty much all the corners here are a bit tricky in some form or another to negotiate them, of course. They're not the easiest ones to deal with around this track. Anyway, down the main straight. DRS, I believe, should be enabled this lap around, or is it not? No, it's next lap. So this lap it's now enabled. But does Nice Job even need the DRS? Well, he's going to wait for the DRS, and he obviously isn't going to go for it just yet. So he's certainly just holding off that attack for now, sat then in behind the Mercedes driver. Is this going to be Nice Job's tactic, to just sit behind the Mercedes driver? To be fair, we saw it the other day, it didn't work for him when he was racing Scarinzi, and that, yeah, was obviously just a bit of a poor tactic from Nice Job in the end. So maybe getting the move done a bit sooner could be a better way to go about this one here, to try and go on the attack rather than be on the defence, I would have to say, from Nice Job. And if he can do that, he might win this Grand Prix. But right now it looks like Danny Van Rooten's on the attack. Look at the gap he's actually opening up a little bit on this lap, up to 7/10 of a second. So is Danny Van Rooten now starting just to show his pace. He's like, thank you guys for the battle, but now it's time for me to go and get the win maybe. However, this, well, we'll have to wait and see if that is literally what he's now doing, because he has opened up almost 0.8 of a second this lap, but DRS is now enabled, so that will help. Obviously, nice job to gain back time on the Mercedes driver as they head into turn 1 and through turn 1 and out of 2. The McLaren a little bit looking unsettled there from nice job, but weren't much of unsettlement. But through turn 4 it's now 0.6 of a second, so 2 or 3 laps to go, whichever way you want to look at it. It is then right now only half a second between the top 3. A little bit of a lock-up for then Danny Van Rooten, but that won't affect him too much. May have just lost him a bit of time, but we'll have to see. Bit of a wobble out of then turn 10. That's going to lose him a lot more time and put him much more into the clutches of the McLaren now of a nice job. So nice job, virtually now in striking distance of then the Mercedes driver. Of course, given he's in striking distance now, he's pretty much round the back. But if nice job does go through, bear in mind Danny Van Rooten will have the DRS for the final lap of the race, so he can easily return. Danny Van Rooten, not Danny Van Rooten, nice job the favour. Danny Van Rooten can always get back past, so does nice job go for it? He might just do. Also, Oscar looks like he might go for it. Or not. So no one actually making a pass. In the end, they all decided better to wait just another lap. So literally, this is, well, I hope not anticlimactic, because they're all just waiting and lining up each other. The only thing I would have said, if I was Oscar, I would have probably passed the Red Bull, only because you could help out your teammate there, somewhat, and therefore Scorinzi would have, well, not just one car to pass in nice job, but would have 2 cars to pass. Nice job, a little bit of a wobble out of turn 10, still though within half a second distance. So literally all their batteries are pretty much stacked right up, besides from Scorinzi. Scorinzi's battery drained pretty much down to the very last percentage. Danny Van Rooten a bit wide out of turn 13. Nice job certainly added the cleaner line. So through then into 14 and 15. This surely is going to be now where nice job makes a pass. Nice job almost getting a little bit all out of shape, but still manages to keep his car within the striking distance that he needs it to be. And he's now past the Mercedes driver, Danny Van Rooten, down then to second place. And is that going to be the race winning move for this race? There is one more DRS zone to go after this one up into turn 4. This is probably the best chance Danny Van Rooten will have to strike back. Other than that, it's going to be turn, obviously, 11, 10 to 11, where there is that second DRS zone. Back straight in from 13 to 14, but if you don't make the pass here, then I would have to say it looking likely this is going the way of the McLaren driver, who has actually driven a very nice race today. It would have been nice to see how the race would have panned out had we had no safety car intervention as well, but I think nice job, it's safe to say, is going to be your race winner unless something catastrophically goes wrong in the final, what is it, not even half a mile, then it will be. So nice job, moves to the inside, trying to break that toe, weaving a little bit, takes another move, change of direction back onto the racing line. But as we head out the final corner, nice job is going to be your race winner then here in Tier 2 to claim the Bahrain Grand Prix victory. It is Danny Van Rooten in second, Scorinzi promoted onto the podium due to the penalty of Oscar. Kotos is 5th, Then it's Tiny in 6th. 7th is Vigo. 8th then is Storms. Then 9th is Lewis. 10th, Vim Porsche. Iron Kid crosses the line just outside the points in 11th. Kosa down in 12th. Piano Jam is in 13th. And Piers crosses the line in 14th. Then Bouncy is going to come across the line in 15th. Demac is going to cross the line in 16th. And St. Power, the final car, half a lap down, but is still continuing on with the drive. Then, so we're just literally waiting for Bouncy to come across the line. Ultimately, not Bouncy, St. Power, sorry. Waiting for St. Power to come across the line in the Ferrari. And, yeah, once he does, that'll be the end of today's race. In terms of non-finishers, obviously got Cole Pillow and Ono Del and Dudele. Those are your retirements for today's race, of course. And finally, doing it eventually, St. Power has finished this race. Kosa takes the driver of the day on track. In terms of my driver of the day, I'm going to say nice job, actually. I know I'm giving it twice to the winner. This time it says my great and host. Hopefully this ain't the one from earlier again. Same bug, but yeah. I'm going to say nice job deserves it, driver of the day, because, very good drive, very controlled, did what he needed to do, clinical, and I like that a lot, I know I could probably give it to one of the other drivers, like Lewis or Storms, but I think actually Nice Job probably did the best job considering where he was at. So yeah, I think Nice Job deserves that driver day. But race results. So Nice Job wins from then Danny Van Rooten in 2nd. Scrunzi takes a podium in 3rd. Oscar unfortunately misses out due to a 3-second time penalty he picked up. And Kotos in 5th. Tiny 6th, 7th is Vigo, 8th is Storms, Lewis in 9th, then Vin Porsche rounds out the top 10. So outside the top 10 we have the two Greeks of then Iron Kid and Kosa. Then it's Piano Jam in 13th and Piers comes home for Portugal in 14th. 15th is Bouncy, then 16th is Demac, and Storms takes the final finishing position. Just Colpillo and Onodel and Dudele are your final non-finishers of today. So that has been the Bahrain Grand Prix, and next round, of course, let me just remind you or tell you where it will be, just so we all are up to date with everything. Where is the calendar? I know where the calendar is. I should know. There we go. There's the calendar. So next round will be the Netherlands in, well, obviously Monday and next week on Wednesday for what will be round number 2 of this season. Of course, Netherlands is a great track. Well, I'm not just saying that because everyone's Dutch in here, but no, it is a great track. I quite like Zandvoort. And we'll see you all for the next race in 1 week's time. So see you all then.